Okay, welcome folks. I've started the recording. This is Design 301. It's Thursday the 7th at 1 o'clock. We are on, excuse me, a Google Meet. And today we're just going to go over the last couple of plates to draw for this week and just give you a heads up for next week. So we did plates 1, 2, and 3, most of 3, enough so that you can figure out how to do it. And now I'll do 4 and 5. So here's number 4. It looks like some sort of a kitchen elevation. And if I look at it, I can see that I've got fractions of an inch. So I'll need to set up for fractional somehow. And kind of like all the main cabinetry sizes come across the top. And I'm not doing the half cabinets, okay, except for this one, which is a half cabinet. And then I'm not really sure why this one is here. Probably so that you can know where to put the vent for the microwave. That's probably the vent for the microwave. Okay, so we'll make it look kind of like that as best that we can. Doesn't have to be exact or perfect, but we're going to use that style. Okay, so let's remember that we go, and I gave you templates, so I can go open that template in my week 7 stuff. And this template there it is. It looks kind of like it. It's not quite as fancy looking. Okay, so here we go. Here, and remember, I want it to show up on my piece of paper. So I'll put myself on my def points and do a layout. That's kind of our standard way of doing it. And I'll go from corner to corner. And then when I click on the paper to go into model space, it'll tell me 0.05. I think that's 1 to 20. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because 20 times 5 is 100, so 0.05 would be 1 to 20. And I double clicked outside, or I can click here. I'm going to turn the dynamic off. And now, of course, I need to put some annotations on there. It's already set up in fractional here. That's cool. And I'm going to put them on, I'll put them on my text layer just so that it stands out. So I think I've got the style. I'm going to go from that endpoint down to here. And my numbers might not be exactly the same, but it'll be kind of close. Now, here's a cool thing. Once I get it into place, I can do something called continue. And then I just have to go click my next one, and it puts it into place. And so I'm clicking where I think the main cabinet blocks would be. And then I remember that this one is a main cabinet block, a single, and then hit enter. So that's a cool thing. And look, if there wasn't enough room, it sticks it outside for you, which is a really neato type of thing. So I got my first layer, and now my next one goes probably to the midpoint of this one here. So I'll go from my same point to the midpoint between these two. Oop. So it won't hit midpoint, but there's a little trick. If I shift right click, I can say go midway between 2 points, between this point and this point. Oh, well, let me do that again. Dimension. from shift right click, midway between these 2 points, over to this point. There we go. Isn't that cool? Now I do see that that sort of messes this one up. So I may need to move it out of the way. I want to make it look nice. And I can move just a hair more. And then I can do that break thing right here. Remember that break? This one right there. There. That's really cool. And I can move this back over just a hair more so it's not quite there. Nah, I liked it over a little bit more. Like that actual break. There. So you don't have to make it look perfect, but you want it kind of close. And so now I'm going to go continuous. Nope. I'm going to have to just lay it in there. And so I want to go, now this is important. I need to do that mid between 2 points again. I'm going to show you why in a second. I want to line it up right on there. Okay, what happens if I put a dimension from here to here? Now, realize I'm measuring my piece of paper now. And on my piece of paper, it's very short because it's scaled. So I actually have to click some point on the model. Some point on the model. I'll break this one. Point. Both broken. And now I get to do the whole thing. So this is actually critical that you understand that when I have to, see, I want it, my cursor is near the model. If I'm up here, my cursor's on the paper because I wrote on the piece of paper. So here I want to get onto the model. There. I'm on the model because my cursor is nearest the model and my cursor is nearest the model. There. So I kind of have those. I've got some more to do. I'll do a few more. Now, what I'd like to do is this one, I'd like to move it up so it's not quite so messy. So that should have a little bit of a break there. And this end should too. And that's okay if you didn't do it originally, because you can always fix it up. So now I see one that runs from down to here, and I'm going to bring it over, and looks a little bit off because it's sitting in a funny spot. I'm going to see if I can click on it and click on the grip and see. Yeah, it'll fit inside just barely, but that's okay. Now I've got one that says 3 inches. And that's probably going to have to sit somewhere else. See what happens if I go the other direction, go from top to bottom. No, it's always going to kind of sit there like that. So that's a little bit of a issue because, see, it won't let me put it over to the other side. You can kind of bring it up here and get it kind of up and out of the way. That's got it up and out of the way. That can really be difficult. And I see I have one more of these break things to do because this is really awful looking. So I'm going to break this one there. So that cleans it up a little bit. That can be pretty hard. Do the best that you can. That one gets pretty difficult. And now I got to line these ones up. I'm going to line it up on this one because it looks better. And then I think there's an overall. And this one doesn't have the little bottom baseboard. It's okay. I told you that this is sort of a kind of mostly sort of one. And remember, if you're not getting reasonable numbers, it's because you're accidentally selecting a dimension line instead of the part itself. Cool. So there we go. That's and you can finish it out and you can put your drawing title and all that kind of stuff on it. I want you to be able to do that. And so I'll save this as file, save as. There it is. It says it's in progress. That should do. That should. So now you've got some experience with fractional and continue, and then there's also baseline, but you got some continue also. Okay. Oh, and I need to do my print preview. I'll plot a single sheet, PDF, that'll be fine. And I'll make it grayscale, remember that. And I'll preview it. And I'll take a snip of that. And it always happens whenever I do that. There, now I got my little magnifying glass out of the way. Cool. I'm keeping everything in my personal drive on the thing there. And this is plate 4, right? So you've done 2 or 3 different dim styles so far. Let's see what our next one, and believe me, there are as many dim styles as there are types of drawings. Eventually, as we move through the course even further, you'll learn how to do all the stuff that sets these, which you can look up in the modify. You've got this page to go through, and this page, 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 to get everything to look just right. And I have no desire to have you know that right now. Absolutely no need for you to know that right now. Okay? You just have to know how to kind of use them. All right, so our last one plate 5. Let's see what it looks like. I'll open. And remember, to open an AutoCAD drawing, particularly in Windows 11, you sort of have to have AutoCAD open and go get it. Windows 11 doesn't look for the right thing very well. And so it'll try to open it up with like PDF or something like that. But, there we go. And let me go ahead and open up my style sample. Okay, so this looks like it's architectural, feet and inches, feet and inches. So let's just see what it might look like. There it is. That's architectural, scale factor 1, which means that if I tell it to print 1/8 high, then on my piece of paper, it will be 1/8 of an inch high. Now, I'm going to show you right now, how do I figure out what my scale factor is? Okay, remember, I go to my paper and toggle it to model. And this says 1/4 inch equals a foot. So if I measure 1/4 inch on my drawing, it equals foot. 1/2 inch is 2 feet, so on and so forth. Okay, so I know it's 1/4 inch equals a foot. Let me toggle back out of my model. I can double click the scale, or I can do something else cool. ATT edit. And I pick this block. And look, everything comes up for me. Is that the coolest command ever? I keep telling you that because every command that I tell you that is even cooler than the last one. There, 1/4 inch equals a foot. There it is, 1/4 inch equals a foot. ATT edit. Select the block. And I can get all this changed now, all at once. If I want to change them kind of one at a time, I can double click on it and this comes up, and then you have to select which one you want to change and go put it in here. This one has some other cool stuff in it that lets you do more. So it's cool, but ATT edit is a good one. Okay, here I am, architectural scale factor 1, text. So I should be 12 foot from that corner to, there it is. Well, mine doesn't look exactly the same because it doesn't have the 0 inches. That's okay. Perfectly okay. We'll teach you about that at another time. So this is going to be 12 foot again on this one, and I hope it is. Dimension. Here we go. Now this is why you sort of have to figure out how to read an orthographic drawing. This bar right here is straight across. It's this one going in the other direction. These multiple bars here is this one, but they're one right after the other going across. So this really helps you understand how these get drawn. So there we go. Okay, now I need some over here. So I'm going to go from this corner. I'm going to have it go the other way. It's this midpoint. That midpoint up to here. It's going to be down here some. There it goes. That's okay if it looks a little different. And then I'm going to do that continuous thing again. Shift and right click lets me pick midpoint once. And what you'll see is this is dimensioned way different than a mechanical. Excuse me. And I don't know what's going on there. How can that be? What did I do there? 1 foot 4 inch. That comes out to be more than 12 feet. I'm not sure what's going on there. If it comes out, oh, I see why that's doing that. So pay attention, and if you get something in a wrong spot, make sure that you fix it. I went to the wrong spot there. There. Okay. And if I want to, I can move this up and into line with this, I think. But I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, now I have to put in a little bit of text. It's called a multi-leader. Click. And I'll shift right click and I'll put it nearest to my mouse. 6. Rafters, enter, paren, 1 space, 1/2. By 7-1. And it's okay. We'll worry about how to fix these types of things so that they get stacked properly and all that other kind of stuff. There's ways to go ahead and change those formatting. But we're not going to worry about that right now because I just want you to get something on there. 2 beams. Shift and right click. Nearest. Oh, I have to say multi-leader. Shift right click nearest, and I'll put it like there. 2 beams. Click. I can move it over just a hair. Lots of controls if you watch what's going on here. Now, I think that should have a space. I think it'll look better. We go again, shift right click nearest, or you can set the nearest. For, you can write SQ for square. So that's a little big. Remember how I can do properties and I can squish it together? Somewhere I can. Width, factor, width. I should be able to squeeze that together. Well, it's not letting me do it on my multi-text. I'd have to explode it. I'll just get it moved over. And then it looks like I have some things to do down here too, right? But now remember, if I pick on this line, it's not going to come out right. So let me make sure I get the actual midpoint to midpoint. And I'll get my last one from midpoint to my corner. And the last little part I've got is this stuff up at the top. And I'm going to just let you do that. I'll let you figure out how to get those in there, do the best that you can, and try to get them in there. Okay? There. And then again, remember this is ATT edit. Enter. Pick the title block, and it all comes up for you to do your cool thing. Okay, so now I'm ready to save this one. In progress. And I'm ready to print it. And again, I can use the little print button. I can probably right click and find a print somewhere on here. No, it didn't come up. What do you know? But I can come over to here. Say print plot. There it is. Grayscale. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And then, of course, I'm just going to take a snip of it. So those are the drawings that you would have. Now, you might, as I suggested, want to try to draw one of these to try to figure out how to do it. So let me open one up and we'll see if I can do that. I think plate 1 is a good one to work with. So I can try to draw this thing. If you have time and you want the opportunity to try to draw some of these. So now I'll start a new drawing. And I'll save it as my plate 1. And I'll need some layers. Remember, I typed DC. I'll get it docked over to the side. Look at my open drawings. There's my resource, so I can go to my layers. And I'll probably want some construction lines, some depth points, some dimensions, geometry. I see some hidden lines. I see some text. I don't think I need thick and thin. And this looks like it goes on an A-size layout of some sort. Let me do a mechanical A layout. And let me look at my dim styles. I think I used XX none. There it is. So if I drag that in there, it's going to be available for me. That's the beauty of this design center. Every program that I know of has something similar to this. So if you do end up working on a different program in your professional world, just know, when there's a good feature, everybody gets it. So the design center is not special to AutoCAD or anything like that, but it sure is good to know that it's there. Okay, so I'm going to show you a way that I go about doing it. Now, I want you to remember, this is the front view. This is the right view. So if I were here and walked over to the right side and looked at it, that's what I would see. And this is the top view. If I were above it and looked at it, that's what I would see. And everything lines up. Okay? It takes some getting used to, for sure. So I'm going to draw this thing first. There's lots of ways for me to do it. Okay? But I see a rectangle, and then a rectangle. So I can do that. And it all fits in a box that's 1.85 by 3.75. So let me do my box construction, a rectangle, where I'm at, 3.75 wide by 1.85 tall. That was that. Now this is cool. I'm going to explode that so that I can work with them separately. But look, these are all offsets from that. So I can offset 2. This line represents this line. Offset 0.4, and one goes up, one goes over, and one goes down. Now you can see I've got my little Z shape. So on my geometry layer, this is why orthographics are cool, and just kind of, this all takes practice, I tell you. Let me see my line weights. Yeah. Now this is a 45-degree angle until it hits this bar. So I can go, if I set myself for 45s, I can start and I can go down. See how it's telling me that's 45. There's the X. And then I'll trim it away. Sure, I'll save it. Current drawing is to save. I don't know where this is. There's no dimension. I'm going to have to figure it out from up there and draw that and know that in the top it has to line up with there. So I'll get that. And I don't know where this one is exactly either yet. So I've got all that I can do in this view. Let me come up to this view. And I see it's 3.75 long by, where's my overall? I have to really think this one through. Didn't really do it for me very well. Okay, but it's 0.6 plus 0.8 plus 0.6 again. This is the mirror image. So I got to figure that one out. I hate that about this drawing. 0.6 plus 0.8 plus 0.6. 2. So 3.75 by 2. Construction. 3.75 by 2. Now, I want to move that up just a little bit so it's not sitting right on top. And I got to move it straight up. So now I can draw my box. Generally how I get going. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to do my offset. Offset 0.4. Again, explode. Offset 0.4. That got this corner, and now I need that one. Now if I offset another 0.2, 0.2 plus 0.4 is 0.6. Or I can just say offset 0.6. There's that one. Now I need to offset this one 0.8. So I just used all the numbers that I knew so far. And now I can draw. Down the corner, over to the end, up, over, down, over. So that's part of the trick of reading the drawings and planning it out first. Now I know something happens here too, right? These lines line up, and these lines line up. Let me go back to my construction lines. Shift right click. Perpendicular is a great choice there. And watch, now I can actually, if I feel like it, I can do a copy. I'm getting closer. I know that this one's a solid line. And this one only goes all the way across, and it becomes a hidden line. See it now? Now this thing's weird. It's 0.4, but I don't know where it is, except it has to line up with that. So I'm getting too many construction lines to see now. So I'm going to get rid of some. It's okay to get rid of them. And I'm going to draw a construction line. And it's 0.4 across and then over and down. 0.4 across, over and down. Okay, so let me do that. And I don't care where I start. 0.4 across, perpendicular. I did a copy command. Now, where does that go? I'm going to go ahead and put one here, and you'll see why in a sec. So I can move that. It's on the middle. Move that stuff, and see how I went left to right. I got only the parts I want. I selected my objects, enter. Shift right click midpoint. 2. Shift right click midpoint. There it is. It's right there. And now these hidden lines just come across now. So there's a lot of thinking behind this one that you haven't really needed to do yet. And this is all optional. We want you to learn the CAD tool more than all the things you could think about of doing a design, but this is kind of cool. So again, now you can, oh yeah, that does look like, hopefully you can see it. Those are, my top view is right. Now over here, I'm missing some stuff still, but I know exactly where they line up. And I'm doing a little trick there. I'm using my polar tracking. And this time I'll do a trim and an erase. Go. And then this thing goes from endpoint over to here on my geometry layer. Now, that's all we really need you to draw on this one. This right side view is not useful. It's just not. Let's see what it looks like when I come over here and I go to my def points and my layout and rectangular, and I go from corner, and I'm going to put my corner over here. This area is usually set aside for notes and tolerances and things like that. Now let me see. I have to get it to a regular, normal scale factor. So I'll go from paper to model. 1.2 isn't normal. 1:1 is. That's good. And remember, when we're in the model, if we go to our layers, I can freeze something, in this case, construction. Oh, man, that is looking good. And remember, when you got it right, you can lock it. There. Now you can go about editing your text. Now this one, ATT, does not work because it's not one solid block. Here it's ED, enter, edit, or just double click on it. There you go. That's how you do it. And that's optional, but I want you to, feel like you're getting your money's worth from the class. So if you feel like you're not getting your money's worth and you want or need to do some extra, this is great practice. And that's all it is. Great, great practice. Okay, so next week is our midterm, but it's not really an exam like you think. I'll have a portfolio, a submittal for you to do, but you're going to have your own drawing to do from something like that. You're going to have your own set. It's going to be particular to you, and it won't, I'm not going to give you instructions or anything like that. The other thing is there's a component of it where you will submit a snip, and I'll give you your own Google Drive folder to put it in. You'll put your files from, I'll actually show you the snip that I want, uh, from your work that you've submitted, and I'll ask you to put your actual AutoCAD file in there. So I'll probably put 2 or 3 that I randomly select on your exam. Everybody will have a different exam. And I will choose from your submittals something. And then you'll put those AutoCAD files in the Google folder that I ask you to put them in. Okay, so that's what the midterm exam is like. You do a little drawing, you do a little dimensioning, pretty much what we've done all the way through. You do a little bit of layer work, a little bit of design center work, and then I'll pick and choose from your submittals that you've done so far, and I'll show you a snip or a page, and you upload the AutoCAD file that you made it from. So there we go. If you have any questions, of course, just get with me and ask. But that is the scoop. So thank you very much. I will turn off the recording now.